What's going on, everybody? This is Brian Mazik, aka Unique Mazik. I'm the hardest working man in sports and gaming, and I'm coming to you with another NBA 2K video. Now, this video, I'm going to be talking about it, and I've been mentioning this. I mentioned this on my Madden channel, which, if you haven't seen that video, seen that channel, and don't know that it exists, the link to it is in the description of this video. But we talked about the M factors that they're bringing in, which are being brought in and as a way to drive home the entire concept of home field advantage, which is something that I think is missing in a lot of sports video games. Nobody really has really tried to tackle that concept because, quite honestly, they probably didn't know how to do it in a way that would have some balance. But I do think the M factors in Madden are the right direction. So it got me thinking about 2K. So I made a little list here and I'm kind of working from it. And so I'm going to put it, it'll be on the screen so you can kind of follow with what I'm saying. But I'll be offering kind of some explanation on my thought process behind how they can incorporate home court advantage in 2K, right? So some people think that some portion of it might have something to do with like takeover or whatever, but I think it's something a little bit different, right? I think you have to have some team contingencies for, the second ends of back-to-back. So if you're in a obviously this is what I'm talking about is franchise mode focused, so my NBA focused, because you wouldn't really want this in play now online or even like my team or anything like that. You wouldn't want it in that because you're playing online and you can't have one team having a gross advantage over the other. This is purely a franchise mode thing where there's an understanding that a home court advantage is supposed to exist. So in the course of a my NBA, if you're going through your schedule and you have a team that's on the second end of a back-to-back, whether or not they're at home or not, there should be some sort of an impact on ratings, stamina, especially that sort of thing. And if they're in one of those weeks on the NBA schedule where they're playing 4 games that week, or whatever, however that kind of shakes out, or 4 games in a 7-day span. Sometimes teams have fatigue issues there, so that's something that I would love to see them kind of calculate. And so all of that is embedded inside of the overall ebb and flow kind of a system, and this is what I would think is ideal. So this dictates what version of all of your players you're going to get every game within a franchise mode, because you got some guys who are just fantastic players, fantastic scorers, they're starters, they're superstars, and they're kind of going to be the same type of person every day. They can have a bad night here or there, and maybe it does have something to do with fatigue or whatever, but stars don't tend to fluctuate quite as much, right? Especially when you're talking about playing at home or on the road. So I got 3 major bullet points of how I think 2K can incorporate home court advantage within a my NBA. The first thing is having role players get a boost on the road. That old adage that says that role players are better at home than they are on the road is really true. If you follow basketball, if you've been following as long as I have, which is decades, you know this to be the case, right? So how do you define what a role player is and not a superstar? Because to me, you don't mess with the superstar ratings too much. I got something that's going to address that, so to speak. But as far as this boost for being on the road, you don't really mess with that too much for the stars. So I'm saying that every player with a rating below an 85, right, gets a boost if they're a role player playing on at home, right? So if they're a role player playing at home, they get a +5 if the team is really good. So it's going to range. The boost should be between 5 and 1, +5 or +1. And the boost goes to their best attribute, right? So if you are a good 3-point shooter and you're a role player, you're probably going to be a better 3-point shooter at home. If you're a fantastic rebounder, then you should be a better rebounder at home, even if it's speed or something to that effect. Even though we're kind of going a little bit, you don't really want to go with athleticism stuff, because if a guy can run and jump, he can run and jump. But we want to look at the skill related stuff like rebounding, shooting, even ball handling, passing, those types of things. I think would be the right attributes to mess with if you're talking about giving role players a boost when they are playing at home. Now, if you are a team that is dominant and at home, or you're a really high rated team, then it should be +5 to the best attribute of your role players. So which is all of them with an overall rating of 85 or below. Next tier down is +4, next tier down is +3, next tier down is +2, next tier down is +1. If you're just a horrible team at all, they could make the decision whether or not they want to say you don't get a home team boost at all because you're just bad at home. But I think it should be either +4, +3, +2, or +1 is the boost that you get for your role players playing at home. Don't really need to do anything to guys playing on the road with those boosts or dips, because I got stuff that I think addresses that. The second bullet point is this: the draw foul ratings. So we all know that players playing at home, especially star players, seem to get a little bit more calls, and teams in general, but especially stars, would seemingly get a little bit more calls at home. So the same +5 through 1 system, but the draw foul ratings get a boost for stars. So anybody that's rated 85 or above, they get a boost on their draw foul rating +5 if they're a dominant team, all the way down 4, 3, 2, or 1, depending on how good the team is, right? And I would say this draw foul rating only kicks in the second half. Okay, in the second half, they're going to draw more fouls. Now, in turn, the road players have their draw fouls dropped in the second half because it's money time. It's tougher for you to get to the free throw line. Sometimes you'll see a coach will be upset about the amount of fouls called. He said, "How in the world did they attempt 30 free throws in this game and all we had was 8?" A huge foul disparity. One team was getting calls, the other team was not. A lot of times, home court advantage is one of the biggest explanations for that. This is, to me, that second bullet point is my way of kind of incorporating that. So it's messing with the draw foul ratings for home and away. My last bullet point, which I think would be the thing that this is the final step of incorporating home court advantage. Now, mind you, I'm not talking about the visual stuff where the crowd is, up in arms and the crowd gets loud and all of that needs to be there as well too. But there needs to be, to me, something that happens from a rating standpoint if you really want to truly feel it in the gameplay. So the last bullet point is late and close free throw ratings. Have the late and close free throw ratings. Now, late and close for me is defined as under 5 minutes remaining in the game with the game within 10 points or less. So either nobody's up by more than 10 at this point with under 5 minutes remaining in the game, or in overtime, of course. So free throw ratings dip for visitors and they rise for home teams when it is late and close. You get less of a dip for players with a free throw rating of an 85 and above, but a progressively bigger dip for players with lower free throw ratings, because you've seen bad free throw shooters go to the line. Some guy who's 62, 63% from the line. When he goes to the line in a close game on the road, it's even more likely that his free throw, he may suffer at the line in those situations. Now, I don't think we need to make anybody a better free throw shooter at home, so I think you can leave that alone. But I do think you can somewhat do something to shake it up for the players shooting the free throws on the road by making it a little bit tougher if the game is close and, like I said, they're on the road. So that's my concept. I would love to hear what you guys think about that. How does that make sense to you? Do you like the concept of home court advantage? Mind you, I'm only talking about my NBA. So please, nobody say, I don't want to lose a game online unless you're talking about my NBA online. I don't want to lose a play now online game because of home court advantage. I don't want to lose on my team. I'm not talking about that. We're talking about my NBA in a franchise mode where we are accepting the concept of a home court advantage. So let me know what you think about that. I appreciate you guys watching. As always, if you have not liked this video, please like it. Haven't subscribed yet to this channel, please do that as well, and subscribe to the other 2 channels. Both the links are in the description. God bless and peace.